Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are in the middle of breakup. The road's muddy, we can't drive in, and we're depending on our four-wheelers more than ever. We've got one that's down with a starter, we got two with bad mufflers, we got another one that we have to kick start. And if any of these wheelers go down any farther during breakup, we can't get in and out, we can't do cattle drive, we can't do chores, we can't haul water. So come with me while we yank these things apart and we try to get some temporary or permanent repairs made to them so they're good enough to use for another few days. This wheeler here I got from across Cook Inlet. It had been eaten up by bears. It had the gas tank eaten up, the seat eaten up, it had a flat tire. It was pretty screwed up, so I got it and we put a new tank in it, new seat, new winch, did a bunch of work to it. The starter doesn't work. Today's project is going to be pulling the starter out of it. I've got some new parts here from the Honda shop. We're going to see if we can fix the starter so we can push a button and make it start. First step here is going to be removing the seat and unhooking the battery so we don't accidentally short something out and cause more problems. Right now, the only way to start this thing is old school. Got a starter cord on here. Sometimes it doesn't start. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you can about pull your arm off trying, and I don't like doing that because my arms are getting shorter all the time. Hopefully we're going to fix it so that when we push that button, it does more than click. All right, started right here, but right now we got to get to the battery right up here. And when we get to the battery, we're going to unhook the battery. First step one. So just to be dead sure, this is actually the problem. This is called a solenoid. Solenoid has a switch. It hooks this to this. The electricity comes out of here, goes to the solenoid. The switch makes the electricity go through the switch up to this cable, goes down to the starter. Sometimes the solenoid is bad. So we're going to try the cowboy method. We're going to short circuit this solenoid, see if it works. Nope, it's not the solenoid. So we're going to get ready to pull the starter. First thing we do is unhook the ground. Get that out of the way. I'm not going to take this part off. I'm just going to work around this. Every rig's got a starter that's a little different than another, so you never know. Well, I'm going to undo this cable first here. No, I'm just going to try to keep from breaking this bolt off here. I'm just going to kind of gently rock it back and forth. I got to get another tool. Call them. This is known as a vice grip. It's a brand name. Everybody calls these locking pliers vice grips. Kind of like everybody calls every snow machine a Ski-Doo, but a Ski-Doo is a brand. Vice grip brand locking plier. Rolling a broken bolt out of the side of a four-wheeler engine block today. I think I'm twisting it off, buddy. Yep. I done twisted that one off. Look at there. That's a problem now. See how corroded that is? That's Otto's make work strategy. Yep. Not a good thing. But for the moment, we have not much of a choice. We have to keep moving forward. That's how to get that little starter out of there, you see. Maybe. Okay, there's the starter. It's out. There's that broken bolt. With a little luck, I can get that out by grabbing it with a locking plier and using a little heat. So thank God it didn't break right down flush. That would be hard to get out. I'm going to take this little starter. I'm going to put it over here on the bench. Step one, clean the bench off, have a clean place to work. I have the luxury of using my son's shop. I don't always have the luxury of knowing what condition it is in when I use it. So usually using his shop entails a little bit of cleaning up as payment for use of this fine facility. So as haphazard as most of my life is, sometimes it's still nice to work some kind of orderliness. It's not a 6 and it's not an 8. It must be a 7. I didn't really even know they made a 7. I don't know if I've ever used a 7 before. Let's check and see. It's a 7. Well, see, there you go. Something new for both of us. Okay. Never been in a Honda starter like this before, but I've been inside of a few other starters. This end is turning. This end is not wanting to turn. Hopefully this won't result in a disaster here. Ooh. It worked. That one's good. Let's try this one. That one ain't cooperating. I'm going to take this one out. And we're going to see just how long this one is. So it looks like there's been some moisture in this starter. It's a pretty big bolt with a small head. So that bolt goes quite far into this housing. So the threads are from here to here. So now I know on this side where the threads are. The threads are going to be from here to here. So roughly the threads are right about here. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to put this in the vise gently. I'm going to get a little hammer and I'm going to tap right here where the threads are. Kind of try to stretch that metal a little bit. Look at there. So let's see, look at that thing. Yeah, it was, you can see a little bit of shiny there where it was corroded, galling a little bit. So now, let's see what happens when we pull this apart. There we go, look at that. Now, these are the brushes. This delivers the electricity to the armature. This is the armature. It's kind of black, hadn't been used in a while. There's a magnets in there, so it's rubbing against the magnets right now, but that doesn't matter. So what we're going to do here is take this back end apart. Keep an eye on the order, how this is. The big washer on top. Those are little, they're called micarta or phenolic washers. They do not transmit electricity. This is the brush plate. This is the little way, the contactor. Okay, so there's really absolutely nothing wrong with this. It looks a little corroded. So probably what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a new one in, but I'm going to show you what's going on. There's a little spring, right? Right there, see that spring? That pushes down on that brush. Oh, let's put a new one out right next to the old one. So you see how this little brush is real free in that holder and the spring works. This one is stuck. No big deal. No big deal at all. Watch. Move that little spring aside. Push that little brush out. Scrape all the carbon off the outside of it. Little bits of carbon have fallen out there and gotten stuck. So now we're going to put this little brush back in there. See how that thing moves now? Just by cleaning it up a little bit, it's completely free to work. These are permanent magnets inside of the starter motor that helps the starter work, right? They've got battery electricity here, you got permanent magnet electricity here, and somehow the magic people have figured out how to make that push and pull and make the starter turn and turn a gear and turn things around and start a motor. Okay, that's a real simplistic view, but it's a fun way to say it. Sometimes when the starter doesn't start, people go down with a hammer or a bar or a rock and they bang on the starter in hopes of jarring one of these little brushes loose enough to make contact, so it falls down in there through that grime, makes contact, and starts the wheeler. Happens a lot. A lot of people go down there and take a hammer and bang on your starter and make starter, and they can start the truck again or your wheeler and get home. It can save your life. It can also screw things up. For an example, banging on the outside of this is probably what has caused the glue that holds these magnets in there to come loose, fallen in against the starter. Now there's no clearance between this armature and the magnet, and it's not doing its job, and it's done. Huh, pretty cool. It just pulls the screwdriver right down to the magnet, so it just, you just got to go back and forth. Oh boy. That looks good enough to go. Now, we have to put these brushes in. Oops, got the armature and the bearing nicely. Now this goes through like, okay, that part's together. Okay, I'm going to test this thing out here. Okay, I'm just going to test it. Put the ground that on the battery, and we'll just, okay, it works. That's how you test it. Kind of can't wait to try it out. Can you wait to try it out?
Can't wait.
I can't wait to try it out. That ought to be it. I think we're all done. So,
Moment of truth.
moment of truth here.
Will it work?
I don't know. Turn the key, push the button. Oh, it sounds mean.
All right. Alrighty. Good job.
Yeah, well, that takes care of the starter.